What's going on? Oh man, I forgot to put on my cool hat. What's going on, folks? Good to see everybody. I did. I had to cut it off. This past weekend was brutal. And I had to see if like sunshine penetrates through all that hair. Like I had to see if this was gonna be like mega white. When we don't have any airplanes on the table today, so I'm gonna. Oh yeah. So, it looks like sunshine makes it through. Boy, white like the legs. My legs got some sun, man. These things are, well, maybe not that part of my leg. All right. So, I obviously want to talk today about Jet Jam 2021 in Elizabeth, Indiana, at the Rosewood RC Field, which is no longer called the Rosewood RC Field. It now has a different name. It has been renamed after the gentleman who had the field built, which is very cool. That was a cool thing that the Rosewood RC Club did to honor the guy who created the field. Yep, I tried to stay in the AC as much as I could because, man, it was freaking hot. It was hot outside. And trust me, I was not the only one that was soaking up some AC. Craig Beaven, it was good meeting you too, man. So let's go over that real quick, man. The thing that's awesome about these shows is just getting to meet everybody from the community, and getting ridiculous hats and other cool things. So we got to meet, or I mean, basically hang out with a lot of folks. So we had. I'm just going to do a big rundown of like all the familiar names that you see that we were able to put faces to again. And it's great to hang out with these guys every time we're able to get together. So we had from, YouTuber world, we had Pilot Ryan, obviously, Bobby Committa, RC Informer, Rich Baker was there. Brendan McCormick from Just Plain Crazy, he was there. I'm sure I forget people, right? Because I suck. People that have, channels but are in the show, all the time. They've got YouTube names but don't really, do live streams or, post a lot of videos. I mean, tons of folks, right? We had Scott Settle and Tony Spears from the Birmingham RC Club. We also had, I can't remember his name. There was a kid who was down there in Florida with us. Can't remember his name. Man, I feel bad for that. But I'm sure if Scott's in here, he'll refresh our memory. We had Spencer Keith. We had C Mafia. What's up, Jackson? Yeah. I mean, those of you guys that saw C Mafia's freaking setup, what? It was pretty ridiculous. C Mafia brought the A game, and it was amazing. You know, like that. I haven't seen anything like that at an RC event before, and I hope that he keeps coming back. So we also had Race 22 crew. We had Craig Beaven, Tim Toutant, Jerry McGee, just tons of folks that we see here. We would have had Che Hamilton, but he wasn't able to make it due to some complications. Garrett, that's who I'm talking about, Tony, thank you. Man, and Greg Rowland was there. The Roach Coach clan was there. I mean, just a ton of people. Adam Chelikowski, he was there hanging out with us. You know, and let's talk about like the guys from Horizon that we got to meet and hang out with. So Jason Merkel was there. He got to, you know, come and hang out in the with the whole big rowdy crew. I think it was Friday night. He come and hung out with us, had dinner. You know, we had a good time with Jason Merkel. We also got to meet Allie from Horizon. Incredible pilot, by the way. Like that guy, world class. That guy is an amazing RC pilot. Craig Greening, he was there from Horizon. All great folks. There were a few more guys from Horizon that, I mean, I recognized their faces, and I mean, I talked to them all, but I mean, some of them I just don't remember. We got to hang out with Andy Davis with HSD Jets USA and see some of the new product that they've got coming, which was the big HSD F-86, which I believe is 120 millimeter EDF. Man, but HSD F-86 looks bad to the bone. Excuse me. Yep, Tony, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So, yeah, for those of you guys that were able to make it, it was great being able to hang out with you guys and just have fun, talk about RC, forget about the real troubles in our lives, and I mean, that whole event is just awesome, and all of these events are, right? Whether it's at Rosewood down in Florida, Birmingham, Neffy, you know, up in Muncie, Indiana. I mean, it doesn't matter where we're able to get together. Every time we can, we should, and it's always just fantastic. Shadow, sure, man. Let's talk about that F-86. You know, I mean, it's pretty classic HSD all around. You know, if you're familiar with how HSD makes airplanes, the F-86 is really it falls right in line with what you expect as far as HSD quality and the features that are in the airplane. You know, so it's got a very, you know, sturdy landing gear, sequence doors, the whole bit. It's a very well done rendition of the F-86. Nice, huge fuselage. It uses two 6S batteries. It is a 12S power system, as well as two redundant 2S batteries for the control surfaces. I didn't measure like the wingspan or anything, but what I can tell you is that it sounds like the price of that plane is going to be either $1,300 or $1,350 during pre-order, and the cost is going to go up once pre-orders, or once the airplane starts shipping and all the pre-orders have been filled. So if you're wanting one at the lower price point, you need to get it during pre-order, and you can get those from HSD Jets USA, or you can get them from BitGo Hobby. And of course, if you're going to get them through BitGo Hobby, be sure to click first, go to rcairmarshal.com, and then click on BitGo Hobby, and all of the HSD planes are going to be featured there as well, just depending on which vendor you want to go through. All right. So Dennis, I know that you guys had the Warbirds over, what was it, in Dallas? Or somewhere in Texas. There was a Warbirds event that Dennis Farley was attending, so, hopefully he can fill us in on how that went. Guys, let me tell you, like at Jet Jam, you see some pretty awesome stuff. There were some staples from the previous Jet Jam that I didn't see this year. So, the B-1 bomber, the composite B-1 bomber that we saw last year, they didn't come out this year. The plane didn't make it. There's a awesome UPS plane, like an MD-11, I believe, that didn't come out this year. There was a remarkably well done U2 that was there this year. That plane was incredible. So much so that the plane has won Top Gun 2 years in a row, was the best of show, best plane at Top Gun 2 years in a row. And after the final flight that they did at Jet Jam this year, the plane is on its way to Muncie, Indiana, to live the rest of its days in the National RC Aviation Museum at the AMA headquarters, which is really cool. RC Plane Reviewer, what's going on, man? Yeah, that U2 was just an amazing airplane. Everything that he had done with it was awesome. Banana Hobby. It depends on what you're looking for, Pickle Pilot. I'm not a big fan of Banana Hobby just based on the past, right? So, and I'm not really a huge fan of LX models, which is a large sum of Banana's inventory. So Banana relabels every plane they sell, regardless of who makes it, under the Blitz RC Works. For the most part, they get a Blitz RC Works tab. And it doesn't really matter who made the airplane. That's Banana's in-house brand. They get a lot of planes coming in from various manufacturers, and they relabel them all as Blitz RC Works. For the most part, a lot of those models have been LX models. At least in my experience of handling and looking at and observing LX models, they just have quality issues and general construction techniques that I am not a fan of at all. Now, do the models look good? Sure they do, but they're a lot like Dynam planes, where it's a modeler's airplane, right? If you're going to get one, you're going to have to put a lot of work into it to make it fly well. So, some of the newer stuff that Banana's getting, the Aerofly stuff in particular, that stuff looks pretty good. But RC Plane Reviewer, man, it's good to have you on the show, bud. right. I guess what I'm saying is Banana's not the first place that I go. And unless I'm looking for something very specific, I rarely go to Banana Hobby's website. It's just not where I go. Mickey B, good to see you, bud. What does that say, Barry? A lead farmer. Yeah, Dennis, that's awesome. Even if it was mostly gassers, man. I mean, I prefer electric for a lot of reasons, but I mean, gassers are cool. So, before I left to go to Jet Jam, I did a build video on the HSD Cessna 182, and I plan to fly that. I got the Roaring Top 2S batteries that I'm going to be using, some Roaring Top 2S 2200s that I'm going to be using for the control surfaces. I've also got an FR Sky S8R stability receiver that I'm going to be using in the big HSD 182 over a single wire, so it's going to be run S-Bus out to the 182. So we're kind of experimenting with that a little bit and to see how everything works. Doing stability over S-Bus, I would assume that the stability is still mixed in when you're running S-Bus out. So I don't want to have a whole lot of wires and stuff in there. So the one receiver, S-Bus out, single wire going into the control board for the HSD, and if that works well, that's going to offer a nice clean installation. If it doesn't work worth a damn, we'll throw an AR637T in there, and that'll make everything happy. Let's see, what else do we got going on? So let me start this next little segment off first with a little bit of an advertisement, and then you'll know why I'm doing the advertisement. BD Tennessee, good to see you, bud. All right. So, as you guys know, I have an affiliate partnership with a few different places, Big Go Hobby, Horizon Hobby, and you guys can get everything that you need if you want to support the channel. You can get everything that you need, Big Go Hobby, Horizon Hobby, Amazon, Banggood, everything that you need from any of those places. Anytime you go to the RC Air Marshal website, so go to rcairmarshal.com. If you click on those links on the website, it offers a small commission back to the channel, and it absolutely helps out a ton on what we're able to do, and kind of gives us the ability to go to some of these events and get some of these newer airplanes, show them to you guys. Assist out with production costs and things like that for making some of these videos. I know you guys haven't seen any in a while. I finally got my SD card back. We're going to have a ton of videos coming up here in the very near future for you guys to see and enjoy. So hopefully that works out. So with all that said, anything that you're looking for from Horizon Hobby, you can click on rcairmarshal.com, then click on Horizon, and if you buy it through that link, it offers a small commission back to the channel that helps us out. Now, with all that said, there's a new airplane that I'm not allowed to really show you any videos on because of some agreements that the affiliates have with Horizon. Now, those of you guys that are paying attention to what's coming out new from Horizon, you know that they've got a new version of the Viper coming. It is a 90 millimeter variant of the Viper. Now, I know that Horizon is notorious for like, a lot of people bash them, right? They say, oh, you know, they keep coming out with the same airplanes over and over and over again. But that's, I mean, if we want to give them a hard time about making the same airplane over and over again, that's cool. But what the facts are, you know, I mean, and these are not, I mean, they're not really debatable to me, right? Every iteration of a plane that comes out, and we'll leave like I mean, some people like the Night Timber X and the Timber X, and that's fair. You know, when the Timber came out, it was a good plane. When the Turbo Timber came out, it was a better plane. And now that we have the Turbo Timber Evolution, I think it's the best version of that plane that they've made. The Viper's no different, right? So the 70 millimeter Viper, it was a good plane, and it got a lot of people into EDFs. A lot of people into EDFs. Now, I can't show you video footage. I can't show you, I can put pictures up on social. I can put links, you know, up on social. I just can't post any videos. But what I can do, I think, without getting into any kind of trouble, is I can talk about it without showing you any videos. And what I'll say is it's awesome. The 90 millimeter Viper is an awesome, awesome airplane. So Tim, it's probably fine for you because you don't. If you have Horizon affiliate links, don't do it. But if you don't have Horizon affiliate links, post all the videos you want. And there's really nothing that we can do about it. Yeah, Mike Bird, that one has already been addressed, and they know that happened, but there's nothing that, I mean, they're not going to ask him to take it down, and that's fine. They just asked us not to put anything up. And that, you know, it is what it is. So, listen, that airplane, I really like the original 70 millimeter Viper. That plane handles like it's on rails. It is an excellent flying airplane. Excellent. There were a lot of things that people griped about. I only have two real gripes about the original Viper. The landing gear I thought was cheap. You know, the little chicken wire struts. I thought those were cheap. And I wasn't a big fan of, you know, the kind of uni-wing construction. And these are things that I've got videos out there that address these two problems. You know, right there between the rear wheel well and the flap, kind of cut out. That would crack and start to open up, and that split would go through the top of the wing all the way up into the wheel well. You know, and maybe it was from stress or whatever, but they have completely addressed that problem with the 90 millimeter. So the 90 millimeter has very well done suspension struts. It's got, you know, nice retracts, good reinforcement on the top of the wing to prevent the retract from flying up through the wing. It's got gear doors, you know, so when it closes, it cleans up quite nice. There is no there's no like inner gear door that closes up over the wheel, so as the wheel comes up, you don't have another one that closes on top of it. But, you know, you do have like the, you know, kind of the fairings on the struts. So as it closes up, it cleans up that line, those lines on the bottom. Your front has a full closing gear door on the front strut. It is running a nice 90 millimeter in-runner power system. That is, I believe, a 12 blade power system that runs very well on 6S packs. It doesn't really have any kind of very unique or distinct sound to it, but that thing performs extremely well. It performs extremely well. Met him, I get it. Creativity is good, but I think that every company is going to have those staples that they're going to stick with. When you have a winning formula that makes you a lot of money, it's difficult to stray too far away from that money-making machine. You know what I mean? Like, why are we gonna get rid of it? Barry Campbell on a 5,000 battery, Allie, Allie was flying that Viper around 7 minutes mixed throttle. That's crazy. All right. And for people that look, I get it, man. Some people are going to be like, 550 is too much. If we look at the price of every other comparable model out there, and we're looking at 90s now, not 80s. So what's cool about this airplane, and what I really dig about it, it's about the same size as an Avanti S, the 80 millimeter from Freewing, that we all know and love. The Viper now has all the lights that the Avanti's got. So everybody loved how, the Avanti is just lit up. It has lights everywhere. The new 90 millimeter Viper has more lights, better lights. It's pretty freaking awesome. It's pretty awesome. And at $550, when you look at kind of the price points and where things are going with this hobby and how much it's costing to get stuff over here, etc., I'd say $550 is a reasonable price for the bind and fly version of this airplane. When you have to take into consideration that they're throwing a $100 pre-programmed receiver into that airplane for you. So if we look at that, and we say, okay, the airframe is $450 and they're throwing in a $100 receiver, now it's $550, but you don't get $100 off, right? So you get like this incredible deal on the airplane and, another, an AR-637T receiver, which is great. They're also offering this in an ARF Plus. Exactly, RC Plane Reviewer, and that's how I think. That's how I think about this. Is based on the prices and how everything else is moving. I think that $550 is a good deal for this particular jet. It is pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, that 120 is not an exaggeration. This thing has, if you remember the speed envelope of the original Viper, this thing holds true to all of the performance characteristics of the original Viper. So we are able to slow it way down, just crawling. Yeah, you could like run and keep up with it. That's how much this thing slows down. Now, can you stall it? Of course you can. But it has excellent slow flight characteristics. It speeds right on up. It will go to the moon. And that's what I was saying about the size of the airplane. It is roughly the same size. Now, I didn't get out there and measure it and all that fun stuff. But just looking at it and seeing it for days and days and days in a row, and going and looking at it, getting a close-up view. I mean, I was respecting their wishes. I do have video footage of the inside of the airplane. I've got video footage of the plane in flight, takeoffs, landings, just awesome flight footage of the airplane. I've got it, and I'll share it with you when I can. The plane at roughly the same size of the Avanti 6S or the Avanti S 80 millimeter, it has a much better power to weight ratio. So it can do things that the Avanti can't do, which is awesome. I mean, it's super fast, extremely stable, flies on rails. I mean, this thing is an incredibly capable jet. I can't say enough about it. I'm super excited. I will definitely be getting my hands on one of these. It is like right now, if you were to ask me what's the best sport jet that you can get, I always go back to the Avanti S. Always. See, Mafia, what's up, man? So I always go back to the Avanti S. Joe Habib, how's it going to do on grass? You know, it's got trailing link suspension on the, in fact, the suspension of the new Viper looks very similar to the struts and suspension that you see on the FMS what's the name of that thing? The big orange one. Super Scorpion. So if you take a look at the gear on a Super Scorpion, that is very close to what you're getting on the Viper, if not identical. It works very well. So what I'll tell you is, for those of you guys, there was a time, and even still now, you know, there were a few people that got to fly the new Viper, and nobody had anything bad to say about it. People that I trust their opinion. A lot of us didn't get to fly it, and that's okay. I know how much I love the Viper, but I also know what its flaws are. And because of some of the flaws in the original Viper, I wouldn't say, like, that's my favorite sport jet. That spot has always been reserved for the free wing Avanti S. This 90mm Viper, I think, could sway that opinion heavily. Just watching what it can do, the size of it, the speed, the power, its vertical climb rate, the lights, the way that its presence in the air, the super wide envelope of what it can do and what it can't do for as far as speeds, stall characteristics. You know, that plane has all of the makings of a plane that's going to fly on rails all the time. You know, you've still got your dual ventral fins. You've got your vertical stab. You know, I mean, it's going to hold that plane steady in the air. You've got your winglets on the wings, which you know, do a remarkably good job at preventing or at least mitigating tip stalls and things like that. There are just a lot of great traits about this new Viper that could get me to change my mind about what's the best sport jet out there. I think this thing, it's got the makings of being one of the best sport jets made. So it's time. It's time to give it a shot and see where it ranks on that list. I just have a feeling it's going to be awfully high. And I think if a 90 millimeter sport jet is something that you see in your future, I wouldn't even wait. Just order it. This thing is bad to the bone, guys. There's no way anybody could be disappointed unless they just don't like Vipers. It's bad to the bone. No, Hangar 51, my links work for Horizon Hobby in general. Not just one company. Spencer, relax. We're going to talk about that one too. So yes, Viper, bad to the bone. No, I don't want to leave all of the, the talk tonight about just the Viper, because there was another new sport jet there too, which I also didn't get to fly, probably because I'm an idiot and I just didn't take advantage of the offer that was put on the table to fly it. The new Eflite Sirius. Two of them there. I had an opportunity to get very close up and personal with the Eflite Sirius as far as, construction, build quality, the paint quality. That Eflite Sirius is pretty awesome. Initially, I didn't really like the colors. I thought that it looked kind of silly. Like the red, white, and blue, Go America, Captain America type thing. But in person, it looks way better. And that's the way a lot of these planes are, man. We see them on camera, we're like, I don't know. But you get it in your face, it's awesome. So we had a couple of different folks. We had Rich Baker and then our guy, Spencer Keith, who, was rocking the Eflite Sirius and let us do a build video on it. So he had it brand new in the box, and I went and hid behind Sea Mafia's big old trailer, and we did a build video on the Sirius. What I'll tell you is it is, without getting too much into the politics of RC and what companies are doing what and who's influenced who, I can tell you the Sirius, you can tell where the lineage comes from. Yeah, you can tell where the lineage comes from. Jeff in Lower Alabama. Man, I forgot all about Jeff in Lower Alabama. Jeff in Lower Alabama was up at Jet Jam. And Jeff in Lower Alabama on Friday night, man, the sky just fell out. And, it just completely, washed away all kinds of crap. There were canopies flying all over the field. A lot of airplanes got messed up, and Jeff in Lower Alabama, his whole tent just got doused in water. And that sucks. So, yeah, hopefully you're all right, Jeff. I didn't get to come and see you off properly. I think a couple of folks, they knew what was going on, and they were like, yeah, Jeff had to leave. And I was like, well, that sucks, but I totally get it, man. And I'm glad that you made it home. And hopefully you didn't end up taking a lot of damage, because that would suck. That's good, Jeff. That's good to hear. So, yeah, back to the Sirius. Man, from what I've seen, another incredibly stable airplane. This one is an 80 millimeter, 1100 millimeter wingspan. I can't remember how long it is, but it's an 80 millimeter EDF, And again, without getting into the politics of it, it is a 2200 kV 12 blade in runner setup, and it's pretty wicked. Again, without getting into the politics of it, let's just say if you were to go and get your hands on one of these X-Fly EDF units, which are available, I think you may still be able to get your hands on one through Amazon. If you were to get one of these X-Fly EDF units, it would drop in with absolutely zero modifications to any 80mm FMS airframe. Take that with whatever grain of salt you'd like. And what I'll tell you is, let's see. If I were to, take the Sirius and I lost all of the nuts and bolts that hold it together, I could go and grab the nuts and bolts off of other FMS planes and put the Sirius back together. So anyway, I'm not saying that at all. So there are some great characteristics of the Sirius that I want to share with you guys. Number one, when you put the wings together, right? So you slide the wings onto the fuselage. As you slide the wings onto the fuselage, there is a D-sub 9-pin connector there. Similar to what you'd see on like a computer serial interface. And you guys will see this in the build video that's going to be coming up in the next few days. As you slide that on there and it makes that connection, I mean, it's just nice and simple. And because they're using D-sub connections, they're made out of metal. They're good, they're solid inside the airframe, and it's something that's easy for us to get our hands on in the event that something were to happen. Where a lot of these companies, they have like this very proprietary connector, or they have this special circuit board or whatever, they're not using like D-sub connections that everybody and their mama can get their hands on. So I really appreciated their use of readily available connectors that will allow us to, to make sure that it's not like this custom blown molded piece of fabricated stuff. They don't have to print off special PCBs. There's nothing. The parts department is not going to be like stressing, trying to figure out like how we're going to get more of these made. We need to make more wings. So, that's very cool that they're using that D-sub 9-pin. Wild Bill, what's up, man? Mr. Reitza, what's going on? Captain Photon, good to see you. Yes, and I can't remember. So right now, the Sirius, this is one of those where I would go and take a look at Banana Hobby. Right now, I don't believe it's an exclusive deal, but the only place right now that I know that you can go and pre-order a Sirius, if you're looking for one, is Banana Hobby. So, yeah, RC Plane Reviewer, if you ever get one in your hands, the Sirius, everybody will be picking up what I'm throwing down, man. Like this plane, it takes a lot. Again, not going to get into the politics of it, but You know, the people that are running X-Fly, you know where they came from. It'll be very familiar. It'll be very familiar for a lot of folks. As soon as you see it, you know, you're going to be like, dang, this looks a lot like blah, 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 blah. But just know that these planes are not coming from any other company, that X-Fly is a real company. It is independent. It is a brand new manufacturer. And they have people there that have been doing work with RC for a long, long time. And they are getting everything right out of the gate, which I think is fantastic. Yeah, George, that big what is it, Aerofoam? Aerofoam, is that the name of the company? That L-39, that is a pretty nice looking airplane. I didn't get an opportunity to go and dig on the inside of that L-39. I would have liked to. I tried to get the cover off of Rich's L-39 because we were gonna put a hamburger inside of Rich's L-39, but I couldn't get the battery cover off. So, if RC Informer is ever in here, so if everybody looks at Kenny there, I think Kenny's onto something. Yeah, we were going to put a hamburger in Rich Baker's L-39, but I couldn't get the hatch open. The little tricky thing, I don't know what. I was sliding it back and the hatch just wouldn't pop. I don't know what was going on. Maybe he figured out a way to like lock his stuff. So, you know, nefarious people like myself and Wesley Miller can't open up his airplanes and sabotage his fun. So yes, Banana Hobby right now is the only place that I know of that's going to be shipping to the United States where you can get a Sirius, an X-Fly Sirius. I don't know if they're going to be carrying the X-Fly motors or not, the EDF units. I haven't looked, but I know that's where you get the plane. I want to say, does any of the folks here know what the price is at Banana Hobby for that X-Fly Sirius? I am not 100% sure. GB West was not there, but you know, every time we've been somewhere where we see Rich Baker, we always try to mess with him a little bit. $389. There we go. $389 for the X-Fly Sirius. You can go pre-order right now at Banana Hobby, but keep in mind the inventory that they're going to have for their first shipment is pretty limited. So if you're interested in the X-Fly Sirius and you are here in the United States, you should get over to Banana Hobby. And here's the thing, right? I don't have affiliate links through Banana Hobby. If you're going to order one, go to Rich Baker's YouTube channel, rcinformer.com. Find a way to support somebody. I don't have affiliate links to Banana. As far as I know, there aren't any other YouTubes besides Rich Baker who does have affiliate links to Banana Hobby. So if you're looking at buying something from Banana, head over to Rich Baker's, to the RC Informer YouTube channel. Find his affiliate links for Banana, and click through those. You can't help everybody out all the time, right? But when you can, I would highly suggest clicking one of our links. And Rich is a great guy. He does a lot of work for the hobby. So make sure that you head over there, click on Rich's links when you're buying a Sirius, and I'm sure that he would appreciate it, and maybe he'll split his commission with me. At least for like $1. Gooniac, what is up? Yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing Nate with the Sirius. I'll tell you, Nate was flying. Yeah, no GB, right? Nate was flying the hell out of the Sirius this weekend. I mean, I'll tell you what. Let me tell you about Nasty Nate. So Nasty Nate was at the fly-in with us. Number one, Nasty Nate is a lot taller than I thought he would be. He is not a small kid. He's dang near as tall as I am. He can fly his pants off. Spencer Keith ain't kidding. Nate can fly his pants off. Great kid. Great kid. He's definitely got a mouth on him, but we all knew that. I mean, Nate's legs, man, he looks like just tree trunks. Just a boo, boo, boo. He is a big kid. But he's awesome. I enjoyed hanging out with him. Him and Phone Boy, RC, were there a couple tables down from where Spencer and I were hanging out. Man, I'll tell you what, I would give Nate the sticks to any airplane ever. That guy, he's a heck of an RC pilot. Lindy, good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I was very impressed with Nate's flying. He's a heck of a pilot, man. Heck of a pilot. And, you know, I did give him a night vapor, and I am pretty sure that Nate was a garbage pilot, and the addition of the night vapor to his fleet of airplanes is what really changed his RC life and turned him into the incredible pilot that he is today. Oh yeah. So let me tell y'all a little story, because C Mafia, he doesn't have like videos on his YouTube channel, but he sure as hell made a big presence at the fly-in with his just gorgeous setup. So we had like this giant trailer, workshop, hauler. For me, it was also my sleeping quarters. I had a big cot, like a big hammock type thing that I was setting up every night in there, and catching some Z's and the air conditioning. I mean, I can't thank C Mafia enough. Very generous, very kind, funny dude. We shared a lot of laughs over the weekend that I won't be forgetting anytime soon. So I really appreciate him coming out and just sharing, a lifetime of work, a lifetime of work with the rest of us, man. Very thankful for everything that C Mafia was able to provide to make our experience that much better. Now, here's what I'll say though, and this is, it's a little bit tongue in cheek, because on one hand, it was crappy, but on the other hand, it's like, man, that sucks. So, no, that's not true. It was all around crappy. It was all around crappy, the situation, right? And I'm sure that Nate didn't mean anything. I mean, it was. You can't get mad at him because I know that it was unintentional, but you can get mad at him because, damn it, man. So here's what happened, right? Nate has, and I think it was probably Phone Boy's chargers, because I'm not sure that Nate actually brought any chargers or batteries or anything with him, right? So Nate brings the chargers over, and if you guys saw Sea Mafia's trailer, you'd see that this thing was like aluminum everywhere. It's an aluminum trailer. Designed that way with the intention of keeping the weight of the trailer down so you can load it up and still stay under specific vehicle weights, with a massive amount of cargo on board the trailer. And this is how, like, NASCAR teams are getting away with, hauling up like a dozen motors and 2 cars and 3 or 4 toolboxes just full of stuff. The way that they keep those trailers underweight, and a lot of times they don't, but the way they keep those trailers underweight is by the trailer itself being the lightest materials that they can get away with. Right? So here's the deal. The whole inside of Sea Mafia's trailer is like aluminum everywhere. And he's got these side cabinets, that have like little quick releases. You drop it down and it sets up like a little workstation. And there's like plugs in there that you can plug stuff into. So, he sets up Nate. Nate comes in there. He wants to charge his batteries, which is cool. He plugs in, and under any other circumstances, this would have worked and it would have been fantastic. The one area that Nate went wrong was, rather than using a specific charge adapter for EC5 connections, he had one of those octopus style, charge adapters. So it's got the banana plugs, and then it's got like 7, 8 different types of leads, So it's got EC3, it's got EC5, XT60, XT90, Deans, It's got a handful of different types of connectors on it. So one of the issues with using that style of adapter is the Dean's plug. The charge side of a Dean's charge adapter is 2 bare metal posts. And what happened is, and unfortunately, what I'll tell you is we got lucky. We dodged a bullet. What happened is, somehow the 2 leads from the Dean charge adapter, while it was charging, and you got to keep in mind that this is like charging at like 10 amps of current, it started arcing against that aluminum and basically creating spot welds in that aluminum, which could have easily popped a battery. It could have done some bad things. It could have done some bad things. And there were lines of just spot welds, and you could see where it was like blowing. There are noticeable gaps in the aluminum where this thing was like tack welding as it was skipping across the surface of this bare aluminum. Nobody was in the trailer while this happened, but that could have easily started a fire, and had a fire broken out, that's the worst kind of fire. There were foam models in there. There were LiPo batteries. There were LiPo batteries right there with the charger. That trailer would have been a total loss if a fire had broken out as a result of that. So, yes, on one hand, we're very fortunate. It was a mistake. Like I said, completely unintentional, but I hope, and the reason that I share that entire story with you is so we're all acutely aware of that one little caveat when you're using like those octopus style adapters. Because the Dean's plug on those styles of adapters is wide open, or if you've got little alligator clips, you don't want those alligator clips touching. You don't want those Dean's, those bare metal pins on the Dean's connector. Every single arm of that octopus style charge adapter is receiving the output current of the charger while it's charging the battery, right? So if we were to touch that Dean's connector to bare aluminum, it's going to create arcing and sparking. The internal skin of the door is ruined. It really is. But nobody got hurt. It didn't get burnt down. And at the end of the day, we can learn to, we can take this negative and turn it into a learning opportunity where anytime you're using one of those charge adapters, any bare metal ends on any of the unused leads, they have got to be covered. They must be covered to prevent any type of electrical current from being discharged into the things around it, to include humans, aluminum, other batteries. Just be careful out there, guys. I don't recommend using those types of charge adapters for exactly this reason. And this just kind of reinforced why I can't in good faith ever encourage somebody to use that type of universal octopus style, one adapter to rule them all type of situation. If you're working in a well-insulated area and you feel comfortable with it, more power to you. But I saw, I've now seen firsthand, like I said, the potential danger and hazards that come from using that type of thing, and I just don't think it's worth it. I think that it's much safer to use a charge adapter that's made for the specific type of battery that you're using, or the specific type of connector that you're charging. So if you need to charge Dean's, get a Dean's charge adapter. If you need to charge EC5s, if you need to charge EC4s, or EC3s, EC2s, all the IC connectors, XT60s, XT30s, XT90s, get the appropriate charger and do it right. Don't use those things, man. They're dangerous. They certainly can be dangerous. And Jeff's Custom, it depends on how it depends on how the charger was acting while this was going on. So, there are arc welders out there all day that are using high-level DC current to weld, metals together, and they don't trip breakers. I'm not saying that should have happened in this particular case, but I think because there was already a load on the charger, that these little arc welds, where this thing was clearly bouncing across the table. It left what looked like little snake bite holes, little divots in the aluminum, little burn marks, just pop, 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 where it looks like it started arcing and it was jumping up and just pop, 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 and each one of those little arcs, to the charger just looked like a small fluctuation because it's already pumping juice into a couple of batteries. This wasn't like a little weak pissant charger. This was a very, high wattage, high output charger. So with that in mind, I don't know that the charger even noticed that it was happening. Now, if it had, stayed stuck to the table, I think that eventually a circuit breaker may have popped. I mean, to answer the question, or to at least address that point, yes, the outlet was circuit breaker protected, and that probably should have happened, and maybe would have happened if it had stayed on there for a prolonged period of time. Hold on just a second. All right, we're back. Sorry. Nope. Yeah, so there definitely was the potential for that to be a lot worse than it was.
Down to 02.
Sorry, guys. There's definitely the opportunity for that to get a lot worse than it was. I'm glad that it ended up not being catastrophic. That would have ruined everything. The entire trip, Jet Jam for a lot of people would have been ruined if that would have happened. Not just the people that were in that trailer, but that would have been a scar on that event for a long time. They can't pay it forward. It was hot, dude. So everybody's asking, why did we leave the chargers unattended? It wasn't unattended for very long. For the most part, anywhere there were batteries being charged, there were people around watching that process take place. Yeah, that was pretty silly. But like I said, I think that this was a situation where and Jeff, here's something else to think about. So Jeff's Custom RC said, wouldn't that have popped a breaker on the circuit? Maybe it would have. But consider this. Because there was a battery connected to it, that means that all of the leads on that octopus cable, whether they are getting energized through the charger charging it, or even if you unplug them from the charger, they are still connected to a 6S high discharge, 22.2 volt battery. So regardless of the circuit breaker tripping, the battery would have still supplied enough discharge current to perhaps do even more damage than the charger would have been able to do on its own. You know what I mean? And listen, speaking of mistakes, I'll tell you about one that I made, which is far more amusing. This one I think is one of those learning opportunities where, yes, the story sucks, but it is worth it for us to hear it, because at the end of the day, nobody got hurt. I think it was a learning opportunity. We all learned from it. And we can all move on smartly as a result of it happening. Is there some damage to the inside of a door in C Mafia's gorgeous trailer that he just got? That had zero damage whatsoever to it, you know, before Nate did that, and now it has damage that was caused by Nate's gross negligence of electrical safety? Yes. But we're all still here. We're all still kicking. The trailer's fine. Other than having the skin on the inside of the door is pretty roughed up. I'm glad nobody got hurt. Nate is a good kid. But I gotta be honest with you. I know C Mafia was pretty mad at him. And even I was kind of disappointed. Like, man, Nate hangs out with Ray enough that he should have known better. Nate's gonna have to polish the outside of something too. You know what I'm talking about? He's gonna be polishing more than just that door. All right. Oh, dude, that would have taken forever. You know, I think the aluminum that's there, is it possible to fix it? Maybe, you know. I mean, it's pretty eat up, Ray. It's pretty eat up, dude. So, pay it forward. That's funny. I'm not bad. What on earth are you fellas insinuating? All right, so let's move on to another mistake that was made. So, as a lot of you guys know, I've been switching a lot of my models from my IX-12 over to the NX-10. And the NX-10 has been performing absolutely flawlessly. It does everything that I tell it to do. Everything. So, when I went to Jet Jam, I brought 5 models. 4 models came home. I lost one. I didn't lose one because I'm a horrible pilot. I lost one because I am a horrible idiot. And I'll say it's the first time that it's happened to me, but it will happen to everybody else. No, Farmer, I still got the F-22. The F-22 is good to go. I lost my Arrows MiG-29. For the most part, the plane was in decent shape, but when I started looking at like the parts that I needed, it would have just been too expensive to replace the parts. If I'm going to get another one, I'm just going to buy a whole new one. So I pulled all the parts that were salvageable out of the Arrows MiG-29, and I threw it away. Range check was not the problem, John Graham. It was not the problem. So I'm switching everything over in my NX-10. Getting all the new models ready. And most of them were done. The MiG-29 was the only one that wasn't done ahead of time. So I get the MiG-29 out. I create the model. I'm doing all the stuff. Charge up the battery. I get the gear down. Everything is working flawless. I'm checking the ailerons. I'm checking the elevators, you know, because it's got the full flying stabs. I'm making sure the rudder's working, that the linkages, because that thing had some damage from a previous crash. The plane, everything was working fantastic, and I was like, sweet. So I went ahead and started charging up the battery. Got a couple of batteries charging because I'm going to put a couple of flights on this bird. I mean, I love flying it, man. The thing, it flies awesome. And we were flying a left to right pattern from the runway. So, like, you'd come up and do, you know, you'd start from the left, take off, and do like a left rollout. roll out to the left to start into your crosswind leg. And, everything is working great. I get it on the ground. I'm doing more checks, right? Ailerons are working. Elevator's working. Rudder's working. Ground steering's working. I've got throttle. My gear's working right. The flaps are going up and down. Everything is perfect. And then I take off. I taxi out. Get it lined up on the center line. I rev up the throttle. And the thing starts lifting up perfect, and I go to give it the left aileron, and that bitch goes whoosh, and I'm like, shit. I knew instantly that I had reversed ailerons. I had reversed ailerons, and it was another one of those situations where, anytime... What happened here was, and when reversed ailerons happens, you guys know how hard it is. Hell no, Gooniac, I didn't check the direction. No, John Graham, man, that's 100% me, baby, just being stupid. What? Fireman, have you ever flown inverted? If you fly inverted, the ailerons are still reversed. The ailerons work exactly the same inverted as they do with the cockpit facing up. Yeah, it was one of those situations where, like, I'm taking off, I'm trying to give it left aileron, it's going towards the tents, and I know exactly what the problem is. And if you guys remember the P-47 crash that I showed a while back, the plane starts going erratic, and I dump the throttle and just nose it in, right? That's me favoring the safety of the people more than the salvaging the airplane. There were tents and people in that direction, so I cut the throttle and nosed it right in and dove that thing straight into the ground. And the nose was about 7 inches into the mud. It stayed stuck up for a minute, and then it broke and fell down. But there were people over there. It was heading towards people. I'm not having that. I'm not going to have that on my conscience. I can afford to lose an airplane. I can't afford to hurt somebody. So, it may have hit Mafia's trailer. Nope, Tony. It did not have the pre-flight cheeseburger. I felt like an idiot because I knew exactly what it was as soon as the thing came out of the sky, and I was so disappointed because I do really enjoy the Aeros MiG-29, and that thing just lifted up beautifully. That was one of those planes that, like, completely hands off, no gyro, no nothing. Like, a lot of people complained about the Aeros MiG-29 and that it was a pain in the butt to get off the ground. I would just, the only thing I ever did with the MiG-29, I put the battery back as far as it would go, and you don't have a whole lot of room to work inside the fuselage of the MiG-29. So I would take like a 4,000 or a 3,200 pack, put it all the way back in the battery bay, and use takeoff flaps. I didn't go full flaps. I would do takeoff flaps. And once you gained enough airspeed, did you have to use quite a bit of runway? Yeah, it took about 200 feet of runway to take off. But once it got the airspeed it needed, Yeah, I mean that plane would just whoosh. It was absolutely perfect. And this was another one of those just absolutely perfect takeoffs where the thing just whoosh, just started coming up off the runway, and I'm like, beautiful. And then I go to do my left-hand rollout, and it starts going to the right, and I knew it was over. I just dumped the throttle and put it in, which sucked, man. I really like that airplane, but I don't know that I'll ever get another one. But hey, man, it happens. It happens to all of us, man. If that's one of those rites of passage, you know, someone had said you can check that box. You know, I think that's like on RC Pilot Bingo. You know, excuse me. B5. Put a plane in because you had the ailerons reversed. Like, that's one of those mistakes that every one of us is going to make at some point in time. Roach Coach, what's going on, buddy? What is going on? Dave Kowalski, true statement. What happened? I'm trying to look up here. So Lyndon is saying, oh, Hangar 51. Now, Lyndon, yeah, Keith Beck, that's exactly what I was saying, you know, when I kind of doubled back and thought about it. That the charger, I don't think, was so much what was arcing across that Dean's connector. I think it was the battery and the high discharge current available from the battery. And the battery wouldn't have given a shit. It would not have cared at all about the breaker. Just I mean, you can put a dead short across that battery, and it's either going to arc and spark, or the battery's going to blow up. You know, take your choice. So, Lyndon, what Kenny said, and you got to be careful when you're talking about Kenny. Kenny said, I have a MiG-29 for you. Kenny did not say, I will give you my MiG-29. Those are two way different things. Just because Kenny has a MiG-29 for me does not mean he's going to give me a MiG-29. Tuck Hill, see you, brother. Have a good night, man. See, Captain Photon. Kenny is a bastard. No, I'm not going to say Kenny's a bastard. Well, sure I will. But Kenny's a bastard for other reasons. Hamilton Tanger, man, it is good to see you. I heard about some of the troubles that you had trying to get up to Jet Jam. I'm glad you're home and safe, and hopefully you'll be able to get your that situation that prevented you from coming and hanging out with us, get that all squared away. It sucks that you weren't able to make it out to come and hang with us, because we were having a fantastic time, and I really think that you would have enjoyed it. We would have loved to have been able to meet you and hang out, and I'm sure the opportunities will come up again for us to all get together. In fact, there are some things in the works right now. To do something down here in the southeast, not quite as far as Florida, around the October time frame. Yes, Yes, Ron for the hills. This is my Draco hammer. So it used to be a Draco prop, but now it is just a Draco hammer. Or a Draco Fu Manchu. So I gotta hand it to I don't know where he got it from. I don't know if he found this thing at Walmart, but Sea Mafia had gone to actually, was it Sea Mafia or was it like, no, it was Sea Mafia. So Sea Mafia went out of his way to go and find some things that I needed while I was at the fly-in. I think, Sea Mafia, I was going to say, did you find this at Tractor Supply? Because I don't think they have these at Walmart, man. So this thing is awesome. So Sea Mafia brings back this hat that's so retarded, it's awesome. And I love it. Now I've got another RC hat that I wear, but it's kind of floppy. Like, this thing is fantastic. It's perfect. It keeps the sun off of my neck. I'm not sunburnt back there at all. I mean, I was wearing this thing around all weekend. And people are like complimenting me, and they're like, "Oh man, that thing is awesome. Where'd you get it?" And I was like, "I have no idea where I got it." Like, Sea Mafia brought me this back. So I love it, man. Thanks for getting this thing. It is funny and awesome. And it doesn't really affect my vision, even though like I look like Country Raiden. Like, this would be much cooler if it just went straight up, and then I could have been like Raiden with my big red Raiden. That thing is so stupid. Oh, awesome, Farmer Man. That's cool, dude. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you for your patronage. So, yeah, dude, this hat is awesome. And I would encourage everybody to get out to their local Tractor Supply and get you either one like this, which is like, Redneck Raiden is one way to say it. Redneck Raiden. Or get you like one, like, real rice paddy hat. I don't even know what it'd be called. Now, George Watts, this is Redneck Raiden. So this thing is like a cowboy hat, with a big old bill. This is like a 57-gallon cowboy hat. Tim Toutant, man, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Pay it forward, that'd be pretty funny. We're all gonna wear our big Redneck Raiden hats to Null in the fall. That'd be hilarious. So, here's what I had to say about this hat. Y'all need to go to Tractor Supply and get you one of these here hats. It's going to change your RC life. The sun won't be getting in your eyes no more. It won't be beating your neck up. You're not going to get like sunburned everywhere. This and a good pair of sunglasses It'll change your RC life. You gotta get one. Anyway, this thing kind of made my weekend. It's super funny. I love it. It's ridiculous, but it's so ridiculous that it's awesome at the same time. Yeah, John Graham, I'm sure that's how that worked out. Yeah, so Captain Photon, I don't think I had this hat yet when I did the reversed ailerons. In fact, I think I had just gotten back from my catastrophic reverse aileron events, and that's when Mafia brought me this awesome 100% straw redneck Raiden hat. See, Mafia, we don't talk about Fight Club. Yes, I did get a free bowl of soup with this here hat. There were other gifts that I received as well. So once I got this hat, I was able to fly inverted better. My landings got better. My takeoffs got better. I was able to fly lower and faster than I had ever flown before. And it's all because of the redneck Raiden power that flows through this awesome hat. And it's not for the fashion, but the awesome RC powers that this hat will bestow upon you when you go to Tractor Supply and you pick one up today. I'm going to put a Tractor Supply logo on rcairmarshal.com so you can click through rcairmarshal.com and find my new favorite flying cap. This hat right here, it changed my RC life forever. Yeah, so C Mafia, when he was at Tractor Supply, he also got these things called tinglies. They weren't just tingles. Maybe it was just tingles. But anyway, like all the grounds at Rosewood RC, when it rains, so all of the grounds at Rosewood, I mean, if it's wet and rainy at all, expect it to be a mud pit for the next 3 to 4 days before it dries up, right? The entire facility is on like a floodplain, and it's got the muddiest grounds of any airfield I've been to. That's not 100% true. I mean, there's somewhere when it rains, I mean, it just gets nasty. But yeah, Rosewood, when it rains, bleh, it's nasty. So, C Mafia's like, man, I need to go get like some rubber booties or whatever. And I'm like, all right, go get you some rubber boots. And he was going to go to Tractor Supply. And yeah, it's a great runway surrounded by a mud pit and 2 awesome, you know, like covered, sheltered pit areas. I mean, it's an awesome facility, but all the grounds are a mud pit. So the parking lot's great. The sheltered areas are great. The runway is awesome. The area, like the staging area, the pilot stations, everything is fantastic, but the ground is just wet and damp, and if it rains, it is muddy. So keep that in mind. And some folks that that remembered that from the year before, I wore flip-flops because I knew, like, it's going to get nasty, and I don't care if I get mud on my feet. And it was nasty. But my flip-flops, I mean, I don't care. Let's get them dirty. Who gives a crap? I just had, like, you know, mud all over my feet till the end of the day, and then I'd have to wash them off. So, see, Mafia, he just had, like, his tennis shoes, so he went to get these little rubber, you know, slip-on covers that went over his tennis shoes, which I assume worked well. But he gets back and he shows me this box. He's like, here, you know, and I get this box and it sounds like Tingley's black rubber protectors. And I'm like, damn. These are 12-inch long black rubbers. I guess you'd have to see the box to really appreciate how funny it was. But, you know, the box was nothing but this innuendo. That's what it was. 12-inch long black rubbers. The white rubbers were only 6 inches long. I'm just saying. So yeah, they were, I mean, apparently they were great. Is that what this is called? A lifeguard bucket hat? So yeah, I mean, we all had a great time. Jet Jam is always a fun time. I'm still a little torn by it. Look, I know that there are a lot of people in this hobby that love jets, and that's all they fly is jets. But I mean, there's a lot of us that also love things other than jets. So as much as I love the idea of Jet Jam, you know, and just like without getting into like this, like, oh man, you know, Jet Jam sucked. No, Jet Jam is great. It really is, and it's an awesome time, great facility. It's awesome, but I don't necessarily like, you know, these restricted events. I think that when we have these events, it should be. I don't want to have people that don't go, where we limit the audience of people who can show up based on the types of airplanes that they have to fly when they're there. I want everybody to be able to go to every event. So while it may be, you know, EDF Jet Jam, like, why don't we have a time during EDF Jet Jam, like every day from, you know, during these 1 hour periods, it's unrestricted. You know, so from like, okay, we're going to fire up EDF Jet Jam, and then from 11 to 1, it's unrestricted flight, and you can fly whatever you want. If you got prop planes, you know, whatever, you can fly whatever you want. And then it's all jets after that. You know, maybe at noon we have, you know, a demo team go up, and then you have unrestricted, you know, again. So it makes it easier to swallow for guys that don't just have jets, you know. Like, there were guys out there that only have like one jet. Like, the only jet they got is like a Habu. But they still brought that Habu just so they could get that fellowship thing going on. These guys might be fabulous, RC pilots. They just don't have a lot of jets. I want to meet everybody. I want everybody to be able to enjoy these types of events. And, I'm not a huge fan of restricting the audience, but I get it at the same time. It's a weird, I guess it's who I am, man. Like, I understand, but can't we just all get along? Yeah, Roach Coach, that's a fact. There were more people than there were parking spaces. Oh, George Watts, no doubt. Like Rosewood, it's an awesome facility. Jet Jam is fantastic, and if you love jets, that is the exclusive. I think that's it's got to be one of the premier EDF Jet, events that's on the RC event calendar. And if you appreciate and enjoy your RC jets, I think you should go. And even though I say like, I don't really like that, I'll probably keep going. I remember at the end of last year, I was like, I'm, probably not going to go next year. And then I did. And I'll probably go again next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. I'll probably keep going. But I want to do other events too where you can fly whatever you got, And it's all the time. And maybe we have themed times of the day, like at whatever time this is going to be Warbirds, from here to here, from 9 to noon is Warbird time. From noon to 5 is EDF Jets. On this day it's all civil aviation. On this day it's whatever. Like have themed times, which I think would be kind of cool too. I don't know. I mean, look, it's their event. And I get it. They've got a whole lot of pilots. These guys are busy enough without having to worry about my silly input. It's just, I'd love to see something a little different. And maybe that means that one day there's an air marshal flying in and we're going to do things a little different. It's going to be crazy and it won't be real flight. It'll be a real one. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll see that someday. Not today or next year. Central Iowa. Oh, Sea Mafia, is that what it is? Because everybody was doing it wrong. All right, so everybody that was at Jet Jam, I'm gonna copy that, Sea Mafia, and I'm gonna put it in the chat for everybody to see. If you were at Jet Jam, you know what that's for. I mean, Dave K, that's a little far for me, but I know that the Midwest, up in that area, I know there's a lot of folks up in that area that don't get to do a lot of these fly-ins because a lot of them are in the Southeast. Some of the biggest fly-ins of the year are over here in the Southeast. We've got Ceph down here in Georgia. We've got, Georgia Jets. We've got EDF, Jet Jam. Lots of events at Rosewood, as a matter of fact. There are... events down in Florida at the Imperial, that are hosted by Imperial RP Club or RC Club. There's Florida E-Jet Fest. There is Top Gun. There's CEF. There's all kinds of things happening down here in the Southeast. We haven't even touched the surface on like two of the biggest ones in the world. We've got Joe Knoll and Knoll in the Fall. They're all down here in the Southeast. So I get awfully spoiled because all of the biggest fly-ins in this country are within like 6 hours of me. And when it starts getting like further than 6 hours, that's when I start like, I don't know if I'm going to do that, man. That's a long way away. So I get that there's a lot of folks all over the country that want to come to these things, but it's just a long drive, man. And Iowa is one of those places that for me it's a little long, but I think there's a large untapped market of guys that would love to go to something like that, where Iowa's not too far from them. You know what I'm saying? Matt Greenlee, good to see you. John Pryor, good to see you too. Thanks for coming down to the shows. John Pryor, that's not a bad idea either. Have like an hour out of the day where this is an hour out of the day that's the Thursday of the event is going to be military day, and for the first half of the day it's all Navy planes, and for the second half of the day it's all Air Force planes, and you can fly whatever you want as long as it's an Air Force plane. World War II, freaking modern era, 5th gen, 4th gen, 3rd gen fighters, 1st gen fighters, I don't care what it is, but it's got to be a Navy plane from this time to this time, Air Force plane from this time to this time. Like, if we're going to theme it, man, let's go. Let's do something cool. And then have, little contests that are associated with each one of those themes, like who had the best Navy plane, who had the best Air Force plane, whatever, and turn them into little sub contests and things that people can vote on and have a good time. And I don't know, I like stuff like that, man. I like the kind of competitive side to spice things up. You can turn anything into a competition. Who can blow up Sea Mafia's trailer the fastest? Like that's a competition that Nate has already. He's already well on his way to figuring out the right answer. I wouldn't even like to limit people to just flying electric. My experience in RC, dates back long before airplanes, and I prefer electric on an airplane for differences that may or may not mean anything. I know that most people, typically the gas setup of an airplane includes putting the gas tank on the CG, but it doesn't change the fact that things that affect the flight characteristics of that airplane change over the course of the life of that gas tank. As it empties, say you have a 1 liter gas tank, a liter of gas weighs much more than an empty plastic bottle. Dave Corsi, I am in Georgia. Yeah, Paul, it'd be cool. You know, it'd be something where I'm not trying to put that together anytime soon. I'm not in the, you know, like, as cool as it would be, I think that there are other fly-ins that are going to happen throughout the year that are more worthy of praise than anything I could put together. So, the last thing I want to do before we close out the show, because at 10 o'clock I'm going to cut it off, which is in 6 minutes. George Watts. Is George Watts still in here? So, I don't know. Hopefully George Watts is still in here and he can answer this question. There was a CARF model. So, all day, and I can't remember the name. What was the gentleman's name that was flying that red plane yesterday morning? It was Bob something. Apparently he's a very accomplished pilot in the world of like high dollar composite planes. Was it Bob B something? I don't remember. I'm sure as George Watts hears this, he's cringing like, you don't know who Bob so-and-so is? Like, no, dude, sorry, I didn't. I've met him before, I never knew. Never know he was so well regarded in that world. But this guy had this CARF model. It was I don't even remember what the name of it was, but this was like one of the sleekest, sharpest, most badass looking, like Ferrari red, awesome looking planes I'd ever seen. I mean, this thing was super glossy. It was an all carbon or all composite. Just plain crazy. Good to see you, man. Yeah, all composite airframe. Gorgeous. Oh, Ronnie London. I don't think that's the guy. Bob Bellamini. Bob Bellamini is the guy. And he had a CARF Joker. My God, that plane looked badass. I mean, and just sitting on the ground, it looked badass. Just sitting on the ground, it was amazing. Like, man, that thing looks awesome. And then he fired it up, and it was like, what? Dude, this guy, was he running a Schubler fan in that, George? I think he was running like a 14S Schubler setup. I can't remember what size he said it was. I think it was a 128 millimeter Schubler fan. Dude, this thing was the meanest, most incredibly awesome sounding EDF I'd ever heard ever. This thing, it was 128 millimeter, 14S setup for this one fan. He was running 10,000 watts of power to it on a 250 amp ESC. I mean, this thing was just ungodly beast mode. He took off, and this plane was just incredibly smooth. I mean, this sounded like a turbine. It was so loud. I mean, it sounded like a big turbine. This thing, like, just takes on, and this guy just goes straight up. Just straight. Forever. I was like, what? And then he's coming down. Yes, the Joker, it was bad to the bone, dude. He comes down. I mean, this guy's like this far off the runway with what had to have been an $8,000 to $10,000 airplane. Yeah, it was EDF, Goniac, EDF, and it was awesome. Dude, just screaming. I mean, and this thing was locked in, son. It was locked in. I mean, just dead straight. Man, it had to have been like 160, 170 miles an hour. Dude, just... What? This thing was so badass. That was the most impressive EDF jet that I saw, and EDF Jet Jam was over. It was awesome. Rose Cotelli, it's good to see you, man. Have a good night. Yeah, Carf had a lot of great stuff going on there, and that Carf L-39 was stupid awesome. You know, the BVM L-39, Jeff in Lower Alabama, the BVM L-39 was like the super large scale. I mean, that thing had to have been like probably a quarter scale L-39, maybe bigger. It was huge. It was huge. So anyway, the Carf Joker, 128 millimeter Schubler fan, carbon fiber, 14S, 250 amp ESC, all kinds of jetty radio equipment. Man, what an awesome, absolutely awesome setup. That thing, it was awesome. The sound, the sights, how smooth that plane was, how smooth Bob flew that plane. I mean, it was just incredible control of that aircraft. Man, the guy just, I mean, everything about that plane was just like boner inducing. I got to, you know, I hate to use dirty terms like that. Not really. I love using those kinds of dirty terms. But this thing was awesome. It was awesome. So, Fireman, if you go to hsdrc.com, the last time I went to HSD's website, they had that big old 747 on the front that said something like, "Are you ready?" It may have been there forever. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it for the night. It was absolutely fantastic seeing everybody. For all the people that I met at Jet Jam, man, it was super awesome. It was a pleasure. Every time we go, it's more fun than it was the last time. I mean, there's always gripes, but man, I always end up going back. George, did Bob even have it out during the event? I don't even remember seeing that airplane. Thanks, Mafia. I appreciate it. I mean, but like that Carf Joker, it was beautiful, dude. Just beautiful. And I feel terrible because I was like, I was so dumbfounded with how badass that airplane was that I didn't even take my camera out. You know, I was like, holy cow, like I needed to see it with my naked eyes. Like looking at it through a camera would not have been the same. I'd have missed it, and I didn't do it. I got a great video of Pilot Ryan flying his HSD ME-262, but that Carf Joker and that swing, you know what I'm saying? It was the pinnacle of EDFs. That thing was so awesome. It was awesome. Awesome. Anyway, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. Thanks to everybody for coming out tonight. Next week, we're going to be talking about airplanes again. Hopefully, I'll be able to get out and get the review done on the HSD Cessna 182. We've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline now that I've got my SD card back. We've got a lot of coverage from Jet Jam. You know, some of it more official than others. You know, the stuff that I do on the Live at Fives or whatever is kind of the impromptu stuff. The stuff that I am actually filming there, I want to turn into a better production value video than just slopping something up. But we got a lot of good stuff coming up. We've got flight reviews for the Hellcat, the Motion RC, the Flightline Spitfire, the Cessna 182 from HSD. I'm finally going to be putting my videos out on the Draco, the Grand Cruiser, the Twin Otter. I've got a lot of airplane videos coming, and you guys don't get to see me do a lot of airplane stuff, so that should be fun. And hopefully you guys are checking them out. And we will go ahead and end this here for tonight. Everybody be sure to go and check out Ray's show after the show tonight. It's always a good time. I'd love to hear Ray cracking on Nate for trying to blow up C Mafia's trailer. That's going to be a good time. And I'll see y'all over there. Anyway, until next Monday, I will see you again live. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you see when the new videos come out, because we do have them coming. Anyway, guys, I will see all y'all later. Thank you for coming. We'll see y'all next Monday. Have a good night.